Welcome back to the show, everyone. It's I Quit My Band. How's everyone doing tonight?
Stupendous.
Great, dude.
That's good. My name is Nate.
I'm JJ.
I'm Evan.
We're here, as we always do, Tuesday nights, ripping it up on the pod. It's I Quit My Band. Go subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Comment down below. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe to our Patreon page. It's $5 a month to become a quitter for extra episodes, bonus content, interviews with exclusive artists like Bobcat Ron, and that's it so far.
Yeah.
He's a fake man.
He's a fake
He's
artist.
a fake
that we
artist.
Hey,
made
don't
up.
out him like that. What the fuck?
You know what's really funny is that I found the first episode that we ever recorded before I quit my
yeah.
band.
The
like,
test
the
ones?
test episode. I
Yeah.
found that on my phone and I listened to it the other day, and we mentioned Bobcat Ron on
Oh,
it.
hell
Really?
yeah.
We mention a lot of things that have become bits on the show.
Oh,
Like,
man.
We
Yeah.
were laying the groundwork.
Yeah.
we were laying the groundwork. Maybe that'll be a Patreon episode, just the audio of the first test episode.
We should. I
That's
remember
kinda
there being.
funny.
There's a choice.
Should we talk
bit
about the
there.
nude?
There's a great bit in there about Ted Nugent, which is very funny, but it takes us a full hour to get there,
Ah.
which is the hard part. But yeah, I mean, I sound like a different guy on that. I'll have to send it to you guys. I sound depressed and defeated, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I don't
Really?
Yeah.
Different? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, there's at least a
think it
little
would-
bit of a excitement.
In what I seen here, Joy DeVive, Nate Cross. Jesus.
Look, I
Christ.
got on my tan shirt and my jeans that I wear every week.
Yeah.
Things are looking up.
I think it would go the opposite direction. Like now you sound depraved and out of it, and there you sound full of life.
No,
But
I was
it's
even
the other
worse.
way around.
You guys sound the same, and I'm just like, I'm really not in a good
We
place.
didn't realize how much you needed.
I
this.
need. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's. I don't think I realized it either. I sound like a whole different guy. It's like it's fucked up. I'm like
awesome.
cracking too many jokes. I'm insulting you guys a little bit too much. It's,
Oh shit.
it's a
Dude, I
different
can't
dude.
wait to hear it.
Yeah.
It's a
Send it
different
over.
guy. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
send it to you.
Cool.
It was called The Trial of Ted Nugent. That's what the episode was. So look out for that on Patreon. Maybe we'll release that.
Oh, yeah. Let it drop.
Couple things. We have an album review that we're going to get into this week. We came here to review a big album, one that was released this past week, I believe. Big artist, Japanese Breakfast. I feel like I just did a Trump thing there. Big artist,
The biggest.
one of the biggest.
Seriously, it's like they're bigger than everything I've ever heard of. I don't know if anybody else is bigger besides Japanese Breakfast.
You got a pretty good Trump.
Thanks. It's Shane Gillis's Trump.
It's a
that
good
I do.
Trump, yeah.
Thanks.
He would be calling this album American Breakfast. Like golf.
We're gonna
Gross.
change
We
it to-
can't call it
Yeah.
Japanese breakfast. We have to call it American breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
this is Japanese Breakfast's new album for Melancholy Brunettes and parentheses and sad women. What's everyone's kind of history with listening to Japanese Breakfast? Are you a huge fan of
Yeah.
Michelle?
would-
What's her name? Michelle Zauner.
Michelle Zauner, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm a pretty big fan. I would consider they've never been like one of my favorite indie bands, but I've liked everything that they've put out. I remember hearing Psycho Pump way back in the day, and like kind of just lumping them in with a lot of bands out of like Philly and New York around that time. But it's been really interesting watching her profile like explode over the past 5 years. I remember when she wrote like the first piece for the New Yorker. It was like what ended up becoming the first chapter of Crying in H Mart, and being like, oh, this like indie artist that I listened to wrote a really good essay.
Yeah.
And then 3 years later, it's like a New York Times bestseller,
Right.
been on the charts for like over a year. So they're a person whose music I have liked a lot, and more just being like kind of impressed at how like how big their profile has gotten in such a short period of time.
Yeah, I kind of feel similarly. I don't really know much about her writing. Like, I know that she did write that book. It was a book, right?
Yeah, Crying in H Mart. It's a memoir. It's very good.
Yeah,
and when I realized just how big it was, like, because they released the book and then Jubilee, like, right around each other, and like Jubilee was definitely a step towards like a poppier direction from the past two records. And it was like in 2023, so like 2 years after the book had come out. I was in Portland, and she was doing a reading at this like huge bookstore in Portland called Pal's Books. And I showed up like a half an hour early for the reading. I was like, oh, I'll get in, no problem.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm here for the reading. They're like, oh, so the theater is full. And then we have this giant overflow area where you won't be able to see her, but you'll be able to hear her from a speaker. And that is full also.
Oh, my God.
I was like, holy
All to
shit.
hear her read what?
Like a chapter from the book, and then it's like a Q&A session.
Whoa.
We'll have you stand outside,
Yeah.
and you could just pretend you're inside.
Yeah. You can tell your friends that you were
That
here.
you went.
That sounds like a skit from the Women and Women First Portlandia thing.
Yeah, it
It's
does
like,
sound.
actually, you could get in, but we're not going to let you come in.
It is very Portland. When you said I was in Portland, I was like,
I was
this is
in
a
Portland. I was
Portland
going to go
story.
listen to a woman read a book
in a large
in a
bookstore.
bookstore.
Yeah, I don't know much about her writing. Like I kind of found out about Japanese Breakfast the way I found out about any band, like through Spotify a long time ago when Psychopomp came out. I heard the song Everybody Wants to Love You, and I don't know, I remember having like a weird like moment with that song. I was like, this is, I had like a 2-week period where I was like, this is the best song ever. I really liked it for like the lo-fi-ness like of the guitar and just of the vocals, and I liked her vocal a lot. It was like kind of different for like an indie artist at the time. And that album was really fun too, Psychopomp. And I remember being excited for her next release, which was Soft Sounds from Another Planet, and thinking it was going to be like poppy again. And just realizing like very quickly, like, okay, Japanese Breakfast is kind of a strange artist. Like there's a lot of weirder songs on that record.
That's probably my favorite by her.
It's good. Yeah, there's a lot of cool songs on
It's
it.
like a lot more spacier and a lot more synth.
Diving Woman and Roadhead and
Roadhead is sick.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Roadhead's
Till Death, Boyish, Machinist.
Yeah, Boyish is really good. Yeah, I just remember thinking like, oh wow, like they're not really. It's weird to kind of start really liking an artist because you're into one thing, like lo-fi, indie rock, and then you kind of see them become, way more than that over the years and just kind of refine their sound. And you're like, okay, this is not why I started liking them, but like, am I still into it? And yeah, I did not listen to Jubilee. I've heard really good things. I heard a couple of like the big songs on it. I think Be Sweet, and there's Posing in Bondage.
Yeah, Kokomo, Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I kind of had my reaction with that album. Because like there were a lot of indie artists that were going more pop at that time, and like there were a lot of indie bands that I liked at that time that were like going for this much more approachable style.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt about that album. I did end up liking it because I think that she just has a stranger sensibility than her contemporaries.
I
Like,
think
she
so,
has a
too.
harder style. Like her songwriting style is not easily replicable. It's not these like very simple verses and choruses. And her voice is unlike really any other indie artist.
Yeah, I think out of like the like that indie scene, like if I had to just name the couple off the top of my head, like Julian Baker or Phoebe Bridgers or Mitski, I would probably say Japanese Breakfast feels like the most experimental out of all of that, like that whole genre. I would say like that's kind of the one person if you want to get into like weird indie rock, like weird experimental indie rock.
Yeah, I guess this is my turn to not be as knowledgeable because like last week we talked about Bambara and like Evan this was his first time with that. This is my first time with Japanese Breakfast. Never heard of this band before or anything. Never listened to it. Totally brand new to me. The vibe I do get early on, and this might be a really stupid comparison, but I get like Grimes vibes if Grimes wasn't like if it non-electronic Grimes because of the high-pitched voice and like the weirdness of like the song structures and stuff.
I could see the vocal.
Do you get what
comparison.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe
purely-
a little in the vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's pretty much where I'm at with it. This was a first for me.
First Jay Brecky rodeo for JJ.
Yeah, dude,
That's it.
let's go.
It's his
Yeah.
first rodeo. But the new album's called For Melancholy Brunettes and Sad Women. Let's just get into it. It's I Quit My Band.
I'm a melancholy brunette.
Yeah, this album is totally for us.
Yeah, for bald men. and-
Formerly brunette.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bald
Yeah.
brunettes and sad men.
Sad men in a basement trying to do a podcast. I mean, if this album was made in antithesis of anybody,
Yeah.
it's us.
It's the boys.
It's the
Yeah.
boys. dude. I don't even know if we should attempt to talk about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's the first song. Here Is Someone. What did you think about that? What did you guys think about this one?
I liked it. Like immediately, it reminded me of Carrie and Lowell, the Suzanne Steven.
Yeah.
Just in that, like the presentation of the strings, like the really like airy arpeggios.
Yeah.
This is the most organic sounding thing that I can think of her making. Like just purely strings, purely like acoustic sounding instruments. But I do like how that synth comes in later, where like the pad kind of fills it out, and then we get this like really shimmery sort of sound. Blake Mills produced this record, who did a lot of the Perfume Genius stuff,
That's very interesting.
and you can kind of hear some of that type of instrumentation and like the way a track is laid out.
I was gonna say they're like at the end when we were doing CAs and stuff. It's like it reminds me a lot of the Perfume Genius, like the newer Perfume Genius stuff that I've heard. Just in the way like that, we listened to that newer song with like how guitars sound. Like they're so twangy that it doesn't even sound like a guitar. It sounds like slap bass acoustic guitar somehow. But this song is like just objectively just gorgeous. Like
Yeah.
it's a really pretty song. It's a little bit of a head scratcher when it comes to like an opener,
I would agree with that.
but like it's just so airy and it kind of it's not like it's a short interlude or anything. It does take its time, but it's pretty. It reminded me. I don't know if it's just because of like relatively like we've just listened to the record, but Squid.
Oh yeah,
Like how
yeah.
it sounds a lot like Squid's new album Cowards, and like we've been coming back to that record and how that sounds with other records too. And it's like I don't know if that's like if this is kind of like a trend now, like have these like really sparkly sounding like glockenspiel type of
Lush.
instruments. Lush, yes.
Yeah. It's very frolic through a magic wonderland
Yes, yes.
theme.
It reminds me of Fieldworks, like 1 and 2.
Fieldworks
those
1 and
two.
2 for sure. Yeah.
I kind of disagree. I kind of like the statement that it makes opening the album, just because, like, if you think of this album as like a movie, this is like the opening credits.
Yeah.
Kinda, sorta. You know what I'm saying?
It's full of whimsy.
Full of whimsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to tiptoe through the tulips to this song.
100%.
You know?
Yeah. I do too.
You're just
dude.
like 100%, dude.
That's
I'm
right.
in, brother.
Tiptoeing through the tool. That's right where I'm at, bro. That's fucking. Let's go.
Yeah.
Here's the next song. It's called Orlando in Love. This is another interesting one. I felt like this one. I mean, it kind of follows in the same like footsteps as the first track. And it still doesn't really pick up, but melody on this one's a little bit stronger. I think it's a little bit more structured.
Yeah, I do like the way that acoustic guitar sounds. And then like when these like strings come in, because like the guitars themselves almost sound like you're like plucking a violin or
Yeah.
something like that. They're so slight and muted.
Yeah.
I like that line. We get the line about the title track, which is like, I guess she took it from a John Cheever short story.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I like this song. It's definitely more of a tune than the last one was.
Yeah.
I did find it weird as a single. I remember hearing this as one
Yeah.
of the singles and being a little like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But in the context of the album, I love that little vocal
Her
part.
melodies are fucking great.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Yeah, this album does seem like it is for readers, which is
Yeah. Not me.
not me. I'm a dumbass, so it's not really
Two
for me.
scholarly listens in a row. We need some dumb shit about wizards or something.
Well, we just had Ben Barr that was about Blade.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I mean, that was great.
I haven't gone to see her live, but I wanted to see her read a chapter of her book.
Yeah,
Like, hell yeah,
fuck
dude.
yeah, dude.
Nothing more rock and roll.
Tell
than
me about
that.
the fraught relationship with your parents.
Yeah. Yeah, there is like a narrative to this album, right? Like there's
like different songs are about different like mini stories. Like some are about her. This is like a pure like fabrication. It's like just like this old dude living in a Winnebago that gets like called out by sirens to the sea.
Okay.
Sick.
That is
And
cool.
then other ones are like more about her life or like certain things.
Yeah, I read that it was a lot about her like time kind of I guess blowing up at like with Jubilee and her book coming out like sort of at the same time and like dealing with like the blowback of kind of becoming like a bigger figure, kind of a bigger star, I guess. I don't want to say
I think
star,
the
but
first song had something about that of just like the pace of everything. I remember like there was a line of her talking about like it felt like you're just at a poker table and you just keep winning hands.
Yeah, like that.
Like how do you step away?
Yeah.
You know, because this is her first album in like 4 years.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I can't imagine what that feels like because like in the book, like the book's cool too because like she'll talk about like Pile in it because it like follows her time as she was in a band called Little Big League before she made Japanese Breakfast.
okay.
So it's like a lot of her doing these like DIY tours and like she sent Psychopomp like to like a record label almost like as like a last gasp. She's like, I'm gonna go work in a marketing firm, but the last thing I'm gonna do is send these songs that I'm working on, and then like she gets signed.
Wow.
And like
awesome.
to know that the project started there and now it's like where it's at, it has to be kind of mind blowing if you're her.
That is
Yeah.
kind of a series of winning hands. Just like, wow.
Must be
Whereas
nice.
we're out there just
Yeah.
like scraping nickels together just to lose more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how can we insult Sleep Token this week? Because that's
The algorithm likes that the most.
Yeah, it does.
When I share things that I like,
No
no,
one
good.
gives a
no one
shit.
cares.
But when we say Sleep Token, their dressing up is a little much. The people come after
50
us.
comments, yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
best. Let's move on. Next song is called Honey Water.
This one reminds me of The Last Dinner Party.
Yeah, it has
I
a
can
little
get
bit
that.
of that. Yeah.
That I don't know where that band came from either because like last year they kind of blew up.
Yeah.
I don't know the backstory. I'm really not versed in that world of modern music.
I remember
but,
they
like,
got like a lot of like industry plant like
Yes.
accusations.
like they just immediately were playing like Coachella's
Yeah.
biggest
Yeah.
stage and stuff. But I really liked that album, and so I kind of get like obviously a female centric thing is what was that, and this is also that. I don't know who's in the rest of the band. I know there's a female singer, but this one and a few other tracks on this album definitely give me Last Dinner Party vibes.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. And that's a good record, too.
It is really good. I
yeah.
mean, plant or not, it's good.
I feel like everyone gets accused of industry plant now. Just like if there's popularity,
Yeah.
some asshole's going to be like, my band is better. What? You're an industry plant.
your dad's the
Your
CEO.
dad, yeah.
Your dad's David Geffen. What chance did I have?
Oh shit.
But yeah, there's like a chamber pop element that's always kind of been in her music.
Yeah.
But like and it was something I was going to say about Orlando in Love. It's like if it was coming out of an old-timey radio,
Yeah.
you could be like, this was written in like the early 60s or something.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I think there's songs on the back half that I feel more strongly
time.
about that.
Yeah.
With this one felt like I don't know. It felt very new, kind of like how we were just saying with Yahweh Nail Gun. I mean, it's not that they sound alike at all, but this felt like just like a new take on like rock and indie. Like I don't know. Like these sounds are so like they feel so different and new, and like the big bass like
I love
hit
that
towards
part.
the end, like it just like it's like this wall of distortion that hits you, and the song just does not let up like whatsoever the whole time. It's just such a headbanger.
It's I love hearing bands like this apply distortion because it's
Yes.
always like so much more, well, not more gratifying, but it's definitely like because it's so sparsely used in this kind of music. When I do hear it, and I'm a hog for that kind of shit, I'm like, oh,
Distortion.
please
Distortion.
more,
Fuzz hog.
give me
Yeah.
more.
Big fuzz hog.
The fuzz
Yeah.
hog.
Yeah, I like the back half of this song a lot. And you know, we're sticklers on like track listings or like
Yeah.
track order.
We are the biggest snobs on track
We are.
listings.
This felt like it could have been a closer. The way like the back half kind of like just kind of deteriorates and gets uglier
Yeah.
and louder. And like the drums are playing like such a consistent rhythm
Yeah.
for most of the song. And then towards the back half, he starts adding in fills and stuff like that. That would be my only, like, if I had a critique of this song, is maybe where it comes in the track listing.
Yeah.
But I do think that, like, purely on a sonic level, this is like the standout of the album.
I think so too. I mean, I have strong feelings about one particular song in this record, but this one is one of my favorites because of just how like rocking it is in such a interesting way. Like it feels very like, I don't know, like triumphant and fucking messy, but like clean, and like it knows what it's doing the whole time. It's just, I don't know, it's fun and depressing. I don't know, it's kind of an anthem in a way.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of like a shoegaze song.
Yeah.
If you were just getting all the DIs of the instruments
Yeah.
before all the effects.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
the constant strums, the like really consistent rhythm.
Yeah.
Like you could hear this being like a slow dive song or something
Yeah,
if
for
it
sure.
was like caked in reverb.
Yeah. Love that. Let's move on. That's Honey Water. Here's Mega Circuit. This one,
A little bit more of a country feel to
yeah,
this.
I like this one a lot. Reminds me a lot of Fleetwood Mac.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I don't really know why. I don't really have a reference for why it does, but it might just be that kind of bouncy, like folksy vibe.
Yeah, no, I can kind of.
Yeah.
I can't like place the
I can't
Fleetwood
place what
Mac
song
song, but
it
it
would be.
does give me that a little bit.
Yeah.
When I first started reading about the album, I was a little worried because like they brought up like country influences a
Yeah.
lot, and you know her last album was more pop centric, and a lot of indie artists were going pop,
Hyper pop.
and then I hear this, and a lot of indie artists are going country. So I was like, she's not the type of person that I would just want like following the trends of what indie is going on, but like. This doesn't feel like the country we've been getting from other like indie artists. Like it still feels like its own type of thing, you know.
It sounds like she set out to write. She didn't set out to write a country song at all, but as she kind of like was laying down the tracks and everything, she thought like, oh, you know what would sound really good here?
A slide
or a banjo or something
Yeah.
like that. Like you kind of fall into it instead of being like, we're writing a country record because Beyonce did.
Yeah,
That's
You know?
true.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
true.
A lot of people are doing that.
Like
now.
country aspects were applied during the process unintentionally, as opposed to like this
Yeah.
is a fucking tongue-in-cheek country song.
Yeah, she's not started off with this ain't Texas,
Yeah.
this
God.
ain't hold up.
And winning record of the year
Yeah.
somehow.
The I like just like the vibe of this song. Like it has kind of like this weird, dark, ominous sort of feel.
Yeah.
Also like melancholy. The lyrics I like the lyrics a lot. It's like about like, you know, a certain type of dude that would be courted by like, you know, right wing media and
Oh,
stuff
really?
like
Is it?
that. Yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
like stuff about there's
Like
also
every dude I went to high school with.
Yep.
pretty much, yeah. Anybody who's on the TikTok feed and just
Yeah.
be like, you should listen to this guy. He's making some good points.
The rise and grind culture, guys.
yeah,
I love those guys.
Yeah, rules.
yeah, like she said something about incel eunuchs or something like that,
That's
and
awesome.
then but then she said something about getting sucked off by the AC units.
I
So
saw.
maybe-
I heard something
Cool.
about getting sucked off.
Maybe
Yeah.
it works out for this guy. Maybe he's like,
Yeah.
all I needed was to get
A
sucked
blow.
off with the
The
AC
I
unit,
didn't even
and
need
now-
a human person, just the
Yeah.
AC unit.
Yeah.
he
An inanimate
was saved
blow.
Yeah.
by fascism by having
Yeah.
sex with an inanimate
His
object.
penis
Yeah.
is just mangled and like torn.
my
just
God.
like, yeah, dude.
It was awesome.
I get some every night.
The Japanese breakfast fans are just gonna love this review.
Oh, I can't wait for them
shit.
to find this.
Mhm.
That's Mega Circuit. Let's move on to the next song. Here's a Little Girl. I think this is my least favorite off the record.
It doesn't really stand out to me either.
She does kind of a thing where like we get two tracks right in a row that are like kind of how the start of the record is, like, you know, two slower, more like dreary tracks. But this one, like Here Is Someone in Orlando in Love, have like their own originality to them. This one felt familiar in a certain way. I think it's the melody. It just sounds like a song or two that I've heard before.
Yeah, I definitely not one of my favorites on the record. Like this, and like you said, there's another song back to back that have a very similar vibe, and I like that second one a lot more than I like this one.
Yeah.
It's very delicate.
Yeah.
And I mean, it still works because her voice is very good, and like it can sustain a piece of music this delicate.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite. I do like the little vocal part where she says like annihilation or something like that. There's a little vocal turnaround that I like.
This is very dad dancing with the daughter at a wedding. You know what I mean? That's what it made me think of. Anything else? Is that all we got?
Yeah, I mean, it does. It feels kind of slight. Like
Yeah.
there are other songs on the record that feel just a bit more substantial. Like the tune is stronger, or the like sonic exploration is a little stronger. Like the most you kind of get is this like piano with this weird effect that feels like it's like shimmering by.
Yeah, I don't know what that melody is. That like, da, 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 but that sounds like some like '90s pop song. And there is like some cool '90s pop influences on this record in the back half that I love.
Me too.
But,
I think we probably both have the same favorite song.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, One Headlight.
There is one headlight, but there's one that's
Okay, we'll go.
Well, we'll get to it. Let's move on. This next one's called Leda. Yeah, I like this one a lot more than the previous. This one tells like more of a story, I think, of like a mom and her daughter, I think, like kind of not connecting anymore.
It's about her and her dad.
Oh, it's about her and her dad?
Yeah,
Okay.
like you read the book, she has a pretty fraught relationship with her dad, and the song is, I believe it's like they hadn't spoken in years, and they
Okay.
had like a conversation, and like the first thing he said to her was like, "Tell me everything."
Okay.
And it's like this thing, she was talking about how even through all that, there's just that like familial bond that's like present, even like through all the distance and stuff like that. But yeah, you feel that in the song too. Like there's just more emotionality there. I feel like the melody is a bit stronger.
Yeah, like even if you're not paying attention to the lyrics, like it just feels like innately heavier emotionally. Like you can just tell that this is the one that she wanted to kind of, tug at your heartstrings more than the others with. And yeah, it just feels sadder, and I don't know, like it's not one of my favorites just because it's like just again like slower and more airy and flowy, but it is like the crusher, I think, on the record.
Yeah, I think it's like the most sad.
Yeah.
She really slows things down though with these two songs that we've gone through, because I was kind of enjoying the uptick in like tempo and movement, and I don't know if two of these back to back really does it for me. If we're talking about fucking track listing again, which we have more critiques than that, I swear, but they really take the wind out of my sails with putting two of these back to back, two bummers.
I mean, sequencing
sequencing is important.
It can really affect the way you listen to a whole record, like just one after the other.
Yeah.
I mean, it does kind of suck to like.
We're reviewing an album here.
Yeah. It does suck to like get two slow ones at the beginning, and then like it picks up a little bit, and then you're kind of immediately brought back down a little bit.
No, I felt that same way about these two songs. I liked this song more than the last song, but it does feel like a real come down.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, we're about to get juiced
We
up,
pick
baby.
right back up, and here we go with Picture Window.
I really like this one. It's probably my favorite on the album.
Yeah, this one's a lot of fun.
This is my favorite song on the record. I love whatever sound that is that first comes in.
I think it's like a slide.
Can I play it again?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like a vinyl record, like not
Warping or something,
playing. Yeah.
And it does remind me a lot of One Headlight, just that like groove and the drums.
Yeah, you can just sing it and it works.
Come on, have a little. Yeah, and the chorus on this is fucking great.
Yeah. I was going to say Sheryl Crow. Like I had a little bit of a Sheryl Crow
If it makes
vibe.
you happy.
If it makes you happy, or like Soak Up the Sun, even though it's not nearly
if
as
Soak
positive.
of the Sun was in minor keys.
If Soak Up the Sun was also one.
I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go right to bed.
Yeah. I want to stay in the shade. Never speak to anyone again.
I'm really tired of this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really tired of this
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, and we get like more of the.
Yeah,
This is a good
fucking
one.
love that.
so good.
And you get like that country instrumentation, but I just think it's used in cooler ways.
It's
like
so
the way that
not
like lap steel
ham-fisted.
shimmers.
I love the lap steel
Yeah.
sound on this. It's so good.
And
Laps-
the way they employ it, like right before the chorus, like
Yeah.
it goes up to that like weird,
Yeah.
like vibrato-y thing, and just that little cutout right before the verse right
Yeah.
there. It's just a really, like, she's a good enough musician to be able to hold together those pieces that are, more ethereal
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But hearing her just kind of dig into a good ass tune, is,
Yeah.
like it's refreshing after those last two.
Lap steel is so in right now.
I love the lap steel. I love the sound of
or
the lap
pedal steel. Like
Yeah.
they're both kind of. I know they're different.
Yeah.
They're both kind of the same thing to me.
Yeah,
You know,
guy sits
one-
down and goes like this.
Yeah, there's
they're
like
not
a big
different to me
thing.
whatsoever.
Yeah, but like to your point, like they don't, like if we're making the comparison between like very trendy, obvious country moves, this one is way more tasteful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's not like shoving a cowboy hat on your head and being like you're gonna
Yeah.
like wearing this.
Yeah.
It's like try it.
And I also, to her credit, have not seen her in a cowboy hat once.
No.
Yeah.
Which you've seen a lot
Good.
of indie artists who are just like, I'm country now.
I went to my parents' house and found this.
Look what my dad had.
Yeah. I figured
I've
out these
always been
songs.
country.
Yeah.
It's at when I growing up.
Yeah.
It was always country. And you're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not like listen to this. I don't get the vibe. Even with hearing the lap steel and like the banjo and like the bounciness, like I don't get the vibe that she's going after a trend whatsoever. It just always just feels like she wrote a song and the best instrumentation for it was to like just put some fucking twang in there.
Some
Yeah.
good,
You know?
some like very savvy producer, whoever was working with them, may have like a good producer suggests shit that like the artist might not hear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
absolutely.
But whether it's instrumental or like a melody to try or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
Little-
Blake Mills is kind of that guy.
Yeah.
You know, like the Perfume Genius stuff, like finding ways to implement these sounds in ways that
Yeah.
are atypical to what
It
you
is.
think.
It is interesting that it is also Perfume Genius's producer because like he is an artist that like you just never know what his records are gonna sound like. Like they could be so pretty or like there's songs that he's released as singles that like have like really fuzzy guitars as the main instrument. Like he's also a very interesting artist, a lot like Japanese Breakfast. Let's move on. That was Picture Window. Here's my favorite song on the record. Men in Bars featuring Jeff Bridges.
The dude.
So
the dude.
cool.
I
I
mean-
didn't know he sang.
Yeah, he's
You obviously haven't seen the 2015 hit Crazy Heart.
yeah. There's Crazy Hard.
No, I
and
haven't.
He released his own album too.
I think so,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't like reading as I was going on, so I just heard a dude on the song. And it turns out to be the dude.
It's one half of R.I.P.D.
Yeah.
starring Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds.
Where's Ryan Reynolds on this thing?
Yeah, but it was really refreshing to hear a different voice. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed
Yeah.
that on this song.
I just like I don't know. I mean, the melody on this, like you guys know me. When you break me down, I love corny music. You know my guilty pleasures. And this kind of has that guilty pleasure, like you don't want to really be caught like just jamming to this because of how like heartbreaking and
Yeah.
like, you know, old lady, like not old lady, but just like sad and emotional it is.
Yeah. Especially that chorus.
Especially the chorus. I mean, I don't know. I just loved. I listened to this song like 9 times today. It's just so good. And Jeff Bridges' vocals.
Well, he
I
gets
mean,
his own verse too, which
Yeah.
is kind of dope.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like, he has a different voice than you would think he would have.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't sound like Rooster Cogburn from True Grit. Like it's like breathier and like kind of like reedier.
Yeah.
And like their timbres mixed together really nice.
Yeah,
and
I don't know how they sound that good together in the chorus with him doing the harmony. That's just
really
great.
Yeah, he's got a great voice.
What's
I
interesting
love
too
that.
is she had already released this song in like a side project that she did.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Did she?
shit.
Yeah, there was like
That's cool.
she did something during, I think it was the pandemic, this thing called Bumper with the guy that was in this band called Crying.
Oh, yeah.
And they released like just like a little EP. And
I remember crying.
Yeah, and one of the songs was called Ballad Zero. And it's this song with no other vocal. It's just her vocal. And it's like very electronic synthy, lo-fi. And it's really interesting to hear her like completely repurpose it as like more of like this rootsy strings type song. And then, you know, I'm guessing if your book sells as many copies as it does and gets signed for like a big movie, you can be like, I want Jeff Bridges on my
give
album.
me Jeff Bridges.
I'd like
I want
to think-
Obadiah Stane on my album.
Dude, the Jeff Bridges characters you're throwing out right now are insane. Obadiah Stane from Iron Man?
From Iron Man. dude.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's hilarious.
Whatever the boat captain's name was in White Squall. I don't
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I know the dude, Rooster Cogburn, Obadiah Stane,
One
I
half
guess,
of
I suppose.
RIPD.
One half of R.I.P.D.
Starman.
He's the there's a movie called Seventh Son that he's in that like it was again on the HBO loop. And I remember the info on it, like the description of the movie, it just says like a supernatural champion parentheses Jeff Bridges.
I remember for a while it was either you or your brother.
It was definitely me.
Is that your Twitter?
It's
bio
my
or
Twitter.
something?
It's my bio and everything. Because I laughed about it for like 10 straight minutes one day, just like, what the fuck does that mean?
What is a supernatural
A
champion?
supernatural champion, yeah. And
I
he,
think
like-
that's pretty baller.
I mean, I would love to be a supernatural
Me
champion.
too.
Yeah.
Tron Legacy.
I like the idea.
Tron.
Yeah, dude, the
It's
original.
the original.
I like the idea that perhaps this song was well, you said it came out already, like it was publicly available.
Yeah.
yeah.
I like the idea that JB was such a huge fan of this song. He's like,
JB was a fan of JB.
Can
I like that shit
can-
you did with Crying.
Yeah.
He's like, can I sing that with you? You know, and then they're like, yeah.
Yeah, give me a guest spot on that, man.
That's all right.
That's
All
pretty.
right.
I'm getting there.
Getting there.
JB loves JB. You know. I'm gonna
kinda Clinton.
keep doing the Jeff Bridges for the rest of
It's
the
kind of
review.
Clinton sounding.
I'm just looking up more. Jeff Bridges. The Seventh Son I have to watch.
Seventh Son, he can barely talk in that movie.
Oh, yeah, dude, Arlington Road. I forgot about that. That's a badass flick.
I did like True Grit a lot.
True Grit's great.
True
more
Grit,
like true shit.
no,
Shut the
dude,
fuck
it's
up.
good.
That's the Coen Brothers. You don't speak.
True Grit's great.
He was Seabiscuit's friend or something, I think.
Seabiscuit's friend
Yeah,
Of course.
K-Pax.
from.
K-Pax.
Okay, I didn't know. I don't.
That's
I don't know
right.
what
Kevin
K-Pax is.
Spacey plays some sort of alien that comes to Earth. I remember seeing it when I was in middle school.
I still don't remember K-Pax.
That's
You
about
want
it.
to
Keep
shoot
going.
off one more before
Keep
we
going.
get to
Go
the
ahead.
next song?
Yeah, he was, the men who stare at goats.
The Man Who Stare at Goats. Right. Great.
Right.
That's good stuff, dude.
Awesome.
Let's move on. That's
blew
Men
my-
in Bars.
I blew my wad on RIPD.
I mean, Obadiah Stane. Pulling that out was great. That was Men in Bars, Japanese Breakfast, and Jeff Bridges. Let's move on to the next song, Winter in LA. Like this one a lot. Sort of has, again, like a slow dance vibe to it, like a prom song almost. Pretty good prom song, I would say.
It's like the most timeless thing on the record.
Yeah.
Like it really feels like when I was talking about like playing out of an old radio.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing about this song that doesn't sound like early 60s or
Yeah.
like late 50s even. like
Yeah.
like even that like little
Yeah,
whatever that
like,
little percussion thing
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
I like that a lot. And then there's a chord that the piano strikes while she's singing like the first line of the chorus that like it's I don't know, it's not quite like minor, but there's like something minor hidden in there that like, kind of makes it a little bit sadder. Do you know what you kind of hear it? I'm not really sure how to describe that, but it's just kind of like this light spin on like what sounds like a classic sounding song, just to kind of make it more Japanese breakfasty.
I didn't think about this song like that at all, but now you're saying it and it totally makes sense. Like that song by Leslie Gore, You Don't Own Me, I'm not just one of your little toys. Like one of those old standards kind of. If this was more upbeat and like was played through a shitty speaker.
Yeah.
Cuz like that tempo that
it's like You're So Vain or something.
Even older than that, dude. Like early 60s sounding shit. I'm just trying to think of other tunes.
Yeah.
God, that vocal. She like picks her spots when to go up.
Yeah.
Just for like a little bit that really add like a nice bit of color.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. It's like before rock and roll came.
Yeah.
Like Be My Little Baby. That shit. Like if it was more upbeat, it would be that kind of thing.
The Eddie Money song. Be my little baby.
Not that.
Exactly like that.
Sounds just like that.
Just like that, yeah.
What the hell is that song called?
Take Me Home Tonight.
Oh yeah.
Take me home tonight. Yeah.
Just like Ronnie said, dude.
Just like Ronnie. I didn't know he said that until like, I don't know, 3 months ago. I was like, that's what the he said.
Who's Ronnie?
Ronnie. But yeah, I really like that one. It's very pretty. If I had one critique on it, I would say kind of the same thing that I said about Little Girl. It just does feel familiar, like how we've been saying. Like everything on this record feels.
I wish they like got to this point earlier. Like go back just like 10 seconds.
I hate a fade out, dude.
Yeah, fade
like
out.
It fades out right
fade.
when the song. And we're here.
Yeah.
And then like they go into like double time.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Damn.
Like I wish we got.
we
what
just
the
got like
fuck?
it just started picking up right
Because
there.
it sounds awesome,
Yeah.
and then it leaves.
Yeah.
And I remember every time it came on, just being like, "Damn, I wish that like that came at like the 3-minute mark,
Yeah.
and we just got a minute of that."
We'll never know.
We will never
We'll
know.
never know.
Totally.
Maybe
Release the Blake Mills
Release-
cut, Snyder
the
style.
Snyder cut. Let's move on to the last track, Magic Mountain. This is another kind of, like how the record starts, it ends in a very similar way. I think this is a better tune than Here Is Someone. But yeah, I kind of agree with you that like the back half of the record feels like things pick up, and I would have liked Honey Water or something like that to close out this record. But I didn't mind this. I mean, I thought it was another like very pretty melody. It doesn't feel like anything she like puts on this record is like I don't really dislike any of it. Like she just makes everything sound so like whimsical and pretty and like just fun, like frolicking through a garden.
Yeah, I agree. I like it's kind of, especially with an album that has so many like layers and sounds, to kind of begin and end the album with what just kind of feel like songs.
Yeah.
Like there are a couple that you feel like are would be a strong contender for the opener.
Yeah.
And at least one that would be like a very strong closer.
Yeah.
And like this song does have kind of like a very resolute ending. Like it doesn't fade out or anything. It just like ends. But yeah, out of like the slower paced songs, this is one of my favorites of those.
Yeah, me too.
Of the like most of the up-tempo stuff is my favorite stuff on the record. And there is something about this melody or the chord choice that I get Sixpence None the Richer.
Kiss Me, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah. Kiss me. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to go into that exact melody, and then it just changes at the last second. You're like, it was almost Kiss Me.
We could have had some Seventh Heaven. Dude. Where's Vanderbeek at?
Jay, did you have any?
No, I didn't. This song, I didn't really remember much about this song.
You looked like you wanted to say something.
No.
Yeah, I like it. Kind of how we were talking about before, with how things is sort of sounded like the Wallflowers or Sheryl Crow. I was happy to hear something that pulled so directly from a huge '90s hit, Sixpence None the Richer. Yeah, it's not a bad closer. I just wish it was. I wish there was like one more song. You know,
Yeah.
I wish there was something else that we could end on that was a little bit more solid.
Like an emphatic
And
ending
yeah,
or something
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Do we want to move into the CAs?
I think we're ready for CA.
Ready for CAs? Who's going first? I feel like I haven't gone first.
Yeah,
in
you
a
go
while.
first.
Yeah, I'll go first. I had a lot more fun listening to this record than I thought I would. And even like during, the listening process, I was like, first two songs, I'm like, this is, maybe this is going to be another kind of snoozer. But so many of these songs, like I was just like charmed by, like the first time I heard Men in Bars, I was like, God, that is just so good. Like everything about that is striking a chord with me. And I loved Honey Water, and I loved Picture Window and Winter in LA. And they just like, the sounds on this thing are just so like lush and pretty. A lot like how we described on the Squid record. Like it's just things that you don't usually hear in like an indie rock record. One thing I think she did better than Squid was like expand upon those sounds rather than just like leave them as interludes and like mix those sounds in with driving beats and good melodies rather than just like leave them as like these are meant to be like these artistic interludes within the record. I really liked how she incorporated country and blues vibes, but like how we talked about, like subtly. Doesn't seem like she's overplaying it or anything like that, or going after a trend. Yeah, I don't know. I just really appreciated this and just had a good time listening to it. And it's just like, I don't know. I feel like if you're a fan of just like music in general, you have to check this thing out because it's not indie rock, it's not country, it's just like an artist like really putting, showing how creative they can be and working with a producer to like squeeze every last bit out of a tune that you wrote, like how we're hearing right now, like a flute just coming out of nowhere and just like playing it off. It's just a very pretty record. I guess my only criticisms of it is that it doesn't, there's a lot of like the songs that I like the most were obviously the more like driving, beat heavy, melodic ones. The slower ones are good, but it feels like there was maybe too many of them on this record and sequenced in a way where, it felt like you were on a high road and then it just kind of dropped you back down at the parts where you were like just getting going. So I had a lot of fun with this record. I'm going to give it a 7.5.
I'll go next. Yeah, this stuff isn't really for me. Like you mentioned Squid, I kind of had similar feelings about that. But in comparison to Squid, this feels less like smart people music like Squid did, where like I had to like get something in order to listen to that. There's not that going on here. Like I understand what's going on. Maybe I don't understand like the narrative or whatever, but I'm not really a lyrics guy anyways. But nonetheless, it is good. I just wish, like you said right at the end there, I wish there was more upbeat stuff. Like set 3 out of the 10 songs really scratch that itch for me, and then the other 7 are either completely bare or very, very sparse in nature. And that kind of lost me, to be honest with you. I there's nothing where I can say this is bad, because it's not bad. Like the sounds are incredible. It's like the soundtrack to a movie about pixies in the tree dust or something. I don't know, but that's not my spiel. That's not my bag. So I'm gonna give this like a 6.2 and just leave it there. It's not for me, but it's not bad at all, and I'm sure that most people would like it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up liking this more than I think I thought I was going to as well. It's probably my least favorite Japanese breakfast album at this point, but it's still a very good album. and I was interested to see, because with the last album being more poppy and their profile getting so much larger, I was like, there's got to be the temptation to just go and do Jubilee again, or a even more refined version of pop. And what I do like about this record, and I think it says a lot about her as an artist, is like she just continued to follow her creative instinct and did something completely different.
Yes.
That sounds nothing like her other records, which I have a lot of respect for. I do like the more indie rock centric sounds on Psychopomp and Soft Sounds, but like that's just my taste.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter how good of like a strings heavy chamber pop record you're gonna make. It's not going to make me like it as much as like the shoegazy sound.
It's not
stuff.
that.
Yeah. But overall, I thought like a really creative record that I don't know anybody else in the indie landscape, even especially her contemporaries, that could make something like this. That's like delicate at times, but at other times has like really strong tunes. Her voice carries so much of this stuff, which I found really impressive. I think if I have to knock it, it's just like the tunes are so good, and there's not as many of them as I would have loved.
Yeah.
There's more of like the mood pieces. There's more of like the ambient sounding stuff. But even that stuff is very well done. So I think I'm gonna get close to Nate on this. I think I'm gonna go 7.4.
7.4. Take it or leave it, dude. And that's a 7.0.
Okay.
And I think that's a
take it or leave it. Hell yeah.
take it or leave it. Hell yeah. A
There you
whimsical. If we, I mean,
For bald brunettes and sad men.
and sad boys. Yeah. Sad.
What
sad
is it?
guys.
I think bald brunettes and sad men. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I like that. That fits the best.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about we mentioned Squid a whole bunch, and I was just thinking while JJ was talking, like we talked about how Squid is
JJ's
like
such a hater.
No.
no, I was just talking about, I was thinking about how like when we reviewed that Squid record, we said like this is so pretty, but something about it sounds so evil at the same time. Like there's something so fucked up about this. This one is just like it's so pretty, and damn, it's just so fucking pretty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's something just inherently happy and beautiful. No matter if these sound sad or not, there's just something in the background that's always keeping you at peace and always keeping you at bay. Of just like, yeah, everything's cool, like everything's gonna be okay.
For the indie rock beanie wearing boy, this is the angel on the shoulder, whereas Squid is the devil on your shoulder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do find that kind of impressive, especially like an album that had melancholy in the title. I was
Right.
like, is this going to be just a meditation on like sadness? And
Yeah.
there are definitely there is sad stuff on the record. There are sad lyrics. There are downbeat songs, but like you said, like the overarching like thing that you take away from it is like, God damn, this shit sounds pretty.
It just sounds nice. It's
Yeah.
just like it's gonna like bring up any vibe that you're in just because of how like I don't know, just kind of like it feels like you're just watching like a butterfly fly by. You're like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
yeah,
it's
I'm in a
nice.
forest.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
here for it. Yeah, it feels like very childlike, I guess is what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
which is probably something I should have said in the entire hour we were listening to it, but you're going to get it in the last 5 seconds.
There you go.
JJ, edit childlike just randomly when I'm
Can
talking.
we get an AI?
Childlike.
Yeah, it's just like in the middle of it.
Nate's like, yeah, I think this song
maybe
sounds
that
really
part where he's talking about having
childlike.
sex with the AC unit, maybe just throw childlike over all of
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
enjoyed
right
this a
on
lot.
that.
Let us know what you thought of it. Comment down below. Tell us if you are a fan of this new Japanese breakfast record, if we are being too harsh on it, if we're giving it too much credit. Tell us in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok if you haven't yet either, and then subscribe to our Patreon. That's all of them, right? Yeah. Patreon, $5 a month for bonus content. We got a lot of reviews coming up in the next couple weeks,
So many.
to the point where we don't even know how we're going to do it. But we're gonna.
Probably
So
gonna lie about listening to the records and then just give a score.
we're
Yeah.
gonna be like, oh yeah, this one's really childlike.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna see what Fantano gave it, and then add what Pitchfork gave it, and divide it by 2.
Yeah.
Just give everything a yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's a classic 6.5. Yeah,
I mean,
whatever.
this isn't really a yeah, whatever because of the record. It's just a yeah, whatever because of my life right now. It's just, I don't have the time for this.
I'm not sure anyone could drop anything right now in my life to break through the 6.5 barrier. If you
all
knew
just
what
across
was
the
going
board.
on
First,
personally.
we
Yeah.
don't have enough, and we have to do classics. Now we're inundated.
Now we're just,
There's
yeah.
just no middle ground
It's feast
for
or
us.
famine, boys.
It's
Yeah.
feast or famine. We were really struggling for the first part of the year, and then every band we
Q2
like was
is
like
coming up
April.
all us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, we'll find out. I mean, it's going to be challenging, but I think we're going to persevere.
Yeah.
So look out. Subscribe to the channel for more album reviews. Go check out Japanese Breakfast's new album for Melancholy Brunettes and Sad Women. We gave it a... What did we say?
A 7
7.0.
even.
What was the...
A melancholy, a bald.
bald brunette and sad men. Hell yeah.
A bald brunette and sad men, hell yeah, with a 7.0. Go check out our rating scale if you haven't yet. That's I Quit My Band. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.